Welcome back to my channel. I'm the Not So Tactical Dad. Today we're going to be talking about situational awareness and things you should be thinking about if you're the defender of your family. Alright, welcome back. We're going to be talking today about situational awareness. Now, situational awareness is really just that, awareness of your situation. That's something you want to think about if you're out and about in public and maybe you're shopping, maybe you're going out to a restaurant, maybe you're watching a movie in a theater if we ever get to do that again. So it's something that every person should be thinking of, whether or not you're the defender of your family. It's something that we really need to think about, because even if you aren't someone who carries a firearm or is really a defensive-minded person, situational awareness is important, because you could be walking out in the street and a bus comes and there goes right past you. So you want to make sure that you're paying attention. You're not maybe in your phone and you're just self-absorbed in those kinds of things, because when you're out in public, anything can happen, and you want to make sure that you don't end up in a situation where you can't react fast enough. So we're going to talk about a couple of things. We're going to talk about the OODA Loop. If you haven't heard of that, it is OODA, which stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. And then we're going to talk about Colonel Jeff Cooper's color codes for situational awareness. OODA Loop stands for Observe, Orient, Decide, and Act. And that was put out by Colonel John Boyd of the United States Air Force, who was a military strategist. And he put out that if you put it into 4 steps of observing, which is very important for situational awareness, and then you need to orient. That's when you start deciding, okay, I have exits, I need to find these things, there's an exit there, there's an exit there. Or maybe you're talking about, oh, that's where the first aid kit is, that's where the AED is, when you're at the mall, or maybe when you're at the movies, in case your family member has a medical emergency, something like that. And then it starts getting into the later stages where you have to decide. You can decide, okay, my family member is hurt, I need to go get the AED. Or you need to decide, that guy just came in with a weapon, something's going on, and then finally you need to act. And that is when you put those plans into work. Now, Colonel Jeff Cooper put out a color code system that sort of goes along with that, and we're going to talk about that right now. Colonel Jeff Cooper put out a color code system that starts with white, which is kind of like when you're at home, you're not really doing much, maybe you're watching TV, maybe you're playing video games, or going to bed, stuff like that. White is a place that you want to be only when you're at home, or only when you're in the safety of a certain area where you don't have to keep an eye out for what might be going on. Now, white is not a good place to be if you're out at the mall, if you're out at a restaurant, or if you're out at shopping, walking around, whatever you might be doing, because that's when people notice that you're not paying attention, and that's when bad things generally happen. Now, you could just be walking down the street and a car jumps the curb and thump, hits you, and now you have to go to the hospital and get your knee replaced or something, right? You don't want to be walking just paying attention to your phone, and that's when a robber could come up and just snatch your phone and take off, or snatch your purse, or snatch your wallet, or maybe even attack you. And so you don't want to be doing that. And now, I know if you're sitting in a restaurant, you could be sitting at the table waiting for your food and doing this, but you don't want to do that, because that's when someone bad could come in and start robbing the place, and all of a sudden you have to jam in the observe, orient, decide, and act, right? And you don't want to have to do that. Now, yellow is kind of the position where if you're out of your house, that's where you should be at. That is where you're observing everything, you're paying attention, you know what's going on, you know what you are capable of, how you're feeling, things like that. And so you can start putting in the observing and maybe even the orienting. Obviously, if you're at a restaurant, you want to be able to pay attention, you want to be able to see the front door, see the side door, see the exits, things like that. You want to see who's coming and going, because who knows, someone could come in, they could be wearing a hoodie over their head and maybe a hat or a ball cap, something like that, and they're just being very shady. Now, before 2020, if somebody came in wearing a mask, you would be going, that's not right, that's kind of weird. Obviously nowadays when you're at restaurants and out in public, people wear masks, so you have to kind of pay attention to the other things that are going on. If someone comes in, they're wearing a bandana, they're wearing a hoodie and a hat and sunglasses, and they're wearing a jacket in the middle of the summer, that's something you want to be paying attention to. Now, I'm not saying that all the time you have to be in yellow, all the time you have to be in white, right? So you want to make sure you play those out at the right time. Orange is a different level. You don't want to be in orange all the time, because that's when you start getting those paranoid kind of thoughts and you think everyone out might be out to get you, or maybe you're profiling, maybe you're doing things that you shouldn't be doing. And so orange is a bad place to be all the time, but there is a time for it. Now, orange is when you get that tingly feeling on the back of your neck and you know something's not right. Or you see that guy come into a restaurant, it's 100 degrees in the middle of a California summer, and the guy's wearing a big trench coat with a hat and sunglasses and all that stuff. So you want to make sure when you get to that orange point, you're going, something is wrong. And that's when you need to throw in, maybe you're in the orient stage a little bit, but you need to throw in the decide stage. You need to decide, okay, that guy's at the front door. If he pulls out a gun or something, we're going to go out this door. If maybe you're closer to that front door and the guy comes in and you say, if he's got a weapon, I'm going to have to pull mine and use it, because I'm not going to be able to get to the back door before getting hurt. Or your family. You need to tell your family, hey, as soon as, if I say go, you run out the back door while I take care of this problem. That kind of thing. So you want to have those thoughts going through your head when you get that tingly feeling. And if you've been around long enough, you've had that tingly feeling, something not right, and you know what that feels like. So be prepared for that. And then the next one is red. Red is at the point where you act. You're at that restaurant, the guy comes in, he's set off those alarms, something's not right, and you decided, okay, if he pulls something out, this is when I have to do it. Or if you are on yellow, your family member starts saying, hey, I've got some chest pains, I'm not sure what's going on. They start getting sick, start getting the cold sweats and the ghostly face. You decide, I'm going to go get that AED right now. So that's your decision point. Now, you need to have those ahead of time so that you're not trying to cram the whole OODA loop in there at once. You're not trying to observe when, oh man, that guy just pulled a gun. You're not trying to orient when, oh man, my family member just fell down on the ground and they're having a heart attack. You need to have those things taken care of before that point. And then you act. Now, Colonel Cooper came up with a final color code, and that is the black color code. I'm going to go ahead and read that right to you. Panicked, frozen, in shock. Breakdown of mental and physical performance. Now, this is a place you don't want to be. Now, in the red, you're kind of in the fight or flight, right? You're either going to take off or you're going to fight and do what you have to do. But in the black state, that's when you've frozen, and you never want to be in the frozen, because that's when bad things happen and you could have done something and either you've gotten hurt or your family member has really gotten hurt, and that's where you don't want to be. Another way that can be construed is you're dead. If you freeze when you're supposed to fight or flight, you might be dead. And that's something we don't want, obviously. You want to come out of every one of these situations on top and alive with everybody you love still on this side of the roses, obviously. So remember, observe, orient, decide, act. And if you're thinking about the color codes, white is a bad place to be when you're out in public. That's why you should be at home. Yellow is the way you want to be 95% of the time. Orange is when you start getting that funky spidey feeling on the back of your neck, where your hair's standing up on the back of your neck and you're just getting that sick feeling like something's wrong. And red is when you have to decide to act. Black is where you never want to be. All right, so that's it for the video today. I hope you guys like the new intro that I threw in there. I hope you guys all have a great day. I'm going to be putting out another video here pretty soon too, so hopefully it won't be so long between videos and we can get back to some type of normalcy. As always, remember, stay strapped or get clapped.